This is my mystery PC. Inside this big ball of masking tape and packaging, it's in there somewhere, guys. So for those of you who didn't see my video last week, I published a video saying that I had bought a mystery PC, and this is it. The reason I say it was a mystery is because I bought this second hand from CEX for £1,100. It is a custom build. It has a 7700K CPU, 1080 Ti graphics card. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 2 terabyte hard drive. But apart from that, I don't know anything. I don't know what the case is like. I don't know if it's got a solid state drive. I don't know, if they've used good parts or not. I really don't know. It really was a bit of a gamble in some respects. But what I'm going to do is unbox it, and we'll see if we've got a bargain here or whether I've just bought a big pile of crap. So yeah, let's get to it. Part 1 complete. So, problem number 1, they haven't included a power supply. There's nothing to plug this in to actually power it, so I don't think I'm actually going to be able to test it today. That is very, very disappointing. But what I'll do is I'll bring the camera up and I'll show you a little bit closer what I've got. Okay guys, this is the PC, and what you're going to get just now might be full of mistakes because I'm doing this live. I'm not doing this, recording clips and then doing a voiceover later. So I apologize if I do any mistakes, but the good thing about that is you're going to get my raw emotion, my raw feelings about this. So first thing is the case looks very good. It's got a kind of rubbery feel to it. I'm not sure which particular case this is. It is a Chili Blast, or Chill Blast, sorry. I was calling it Chili Blast. It looks like at the top here we've got USB 3.0, we've got a memory card reader, headphone jack, mic port, we've got the power, and we've got USB 2.0 ports. Now you can get out to see inside, but I'll go to the side and hopefully I'll check it from the side and see what that's all like. There is a side panel here, which I assume lights up when it powers on. I don't like the fact this is all dirty. I think they could have at least wiped it before they sent it, but they haven't. They've clearly just sent it out. Okay, at the back here, there's a fan there. This is the graphics card. There, I think that's the graphics card as well. With the power, which I don't have. What's this? Display port, VGA. You've got your MS2 ports, PS2 ports. Sorry, you've got two USB 3.0. These look like USB 2.0, and yeah, that's it really. So what I'm going to do is open up the side and we can see what's inside. So from this side you can see the power supply, the fan. I think I'll need to open up the other side to see the components properly, but this is the power supply side. Looks like a decent power supply. I can't see a plug yet. I'll do another double check before the end of this, but I can't see a plug yet. Case seems quite good. It is a little bit dirty, but it does seem okay. So I flipped it over. The case seems quite good because the thumb screws fairly easy to take off. I said that, and now this one isn't coming off. You can see that there's this part here is all stained. It's like marks on it. I should be able to clean that. Okay. So we've got the power supply is down the bottom here. Up here. The power supply is down the bottom. I'd probably have to take the tray out just to show you properly. There's a hard drive here. I believe that's 2 terabyte. We've got Aero GeForce GTX. Now that is supposed to be a 1080 Ti, but I can't see that listed on it, but I'll need to check that that is the case. Looks like, I don't know if you can see that there, it is an Asus motherboard. So it's an Asus motherboard. I'll need to try and figure out which one it is. Round the other side, I should be able to see that. Right, I'll open up the other side. The RAM is showing at the other side, so I want to see what the RAM is like. I believe there's 2 sticks. So it's 2 sticks of Corsair RAM, 8 gigabytes each. You know, I would have to pull out the motherboard tray to see if there's an SSD connected here somewhere. I don't think there is, but you can see there's a fan up here, there's a fan there, there's another, I think there's another fan somewhere else. No, I think that might be just be it. So it seems to be well ventilated. So there is an SSD in there, an Evo 960. I'm not sure of the capacity yet because I can't get into it yet. You can see the CPU fan and all that there as well. Looks like a decent fan. So guys, I've took the camera off the stand so that I can get into the PC and I can show you all a little bit better. First things first, well, if you look over here, look at this mess. All that packaging and there's not a power supply. So I need to go out and buy one or I'm not going to be able to test this today. So in the meantime, before I go out and get one, what I want to do is just show you from the top and the bottom. I've taken the top panel and the side casing off. Now, first thing is, as I said, Corsair, 2 8GB sticks. The other thing is that I thought this was a Chill Blast case, but it looks like, I would just assume this was a case manufacturer. It looks like they actually sell PCs. So I believe this was a Chill Blast PC, which means that the person who bought it probably didn't build it themselves. And that's probably a good thing. Now, you can see here the motherboard, Prime. It's an Asus Prime Z270M Plus. The other thing, the SD card, which hopefully you can see with the light. Can you? I'm not sure you can see that, but it's 250 gigabytes. Now, at the side of the card, there is a sticker saying that it is a 1080 Ti as well. It's not getting focused now, but it is there at the side. It's hard to point out here on the camera, but it is down there. And yeah, I mean, all in all, it seems quite well put together. We've got the 2 terabyte, I assume it's 2 terabyte, I've not checked that yet, 2 terabyte hard drive. We've got the 1080 Ti here. We've got the 960 SSD, which retails about 115 on its own. We've got 16 gigabyte of RAM. There's a little bit of room for storage. It's not the biggest of cases. I think it's a mid ATX, sorry. I think it is. But the case is actually quite decent. I must admit, it's quite a good material. So it's all well put together in the middle. What I'm going to do now is head out and get a plug so that I can turn it on and I can check how this thing runs. Okay guys, I'm up and running. A little cheap kettle plug was enough to do it. I probably had a plug lying around somewhere, but I didn't want to spend hours scavenging for one, and it's always handy to have another one. So I'll show you how I've got it set up just now. I moved my monitor out the way just now because I wanted to put it on the desktop, and I've got it up and running. First impression, I think it's a good looking case. It needs a clean. It is dirty, but I do think it looks like a good case, and you can see all the ports here. Now, I don't know whether I just set it behind the monitor or whether I should try and get access to these, because it is handy to have like the memory card slot, the power button and all that, have it all there. That is useful. It's a little bit annoying that these aren't all USB 3 ports, but maybe it can be changed, I'm not sure. It does seem pretty silent though. That is one thing I would say. It does seem pretty silent. So, onto the computer, and you know, rather than, I don't have the computer set up yet to do screenshots and stuff, but I'll just I'll quickly show you some things. Firstly is that yes, it is an i7700K 4.2 gigahertz. It is 16 gigabytes and it is Windows 10 Pro. Next thing, we've got 16 gigabyte of RAM, and with no apps there, nothing is really happening. The other thing, yes, I was right. It does have an SSD. It does have a 2 terabyte drive, but surprisingly, Windows isn't on the SSD. So I don't know if that means that the person who had this, maybe they bought this themselves and stuck it in. I suspect that's what's happened. I don't know, but I would imagine that it would be better to put it in SSD. So what I'm going to do, try and switch it over to the SSD. That's something I'll do in the future, and it should increase performance. That's what you want. You want to keep that for storage, keep this for the apps. But nothing else really to say just now, but I will give you a little tour of the PC. Well, I'm sitting at my computer now, trying to get used to my new setup. I've got the PC at the left-hand side, I've got my monitor to the right, and just as a reminder, this video has been on the fly, on the go type of video. I have just been recording things as I went, so all my reactions have been real, which is why I think when I opened it up, I said Chili Blast instead of Chill Blast. I think I called the DVI port DisplayPort, and I think I probably overreacted but by the fact there wasn't a plug, but I was genuinely annoyed. It was an easy fix, but that's the thing when you do a video like that. When you do it on the fly, your reactions are real. But I think that was good for an unboxing, for a first impressions type of video. This is the motherboard, and it is a micro ATX motherboard. I just assumed it was a mini. It's got DDR4 dual M2 Intel Octane memory ready. But if you go down, if I go down here, this is my motherboard. This is what's inside the PC, and you can see, I think that was that one I said was DisplayPort. It's DVI-D. There's VGA. There's a Type-C connection, so it's USB 3, but it's Type-C. There's HDMI, but then obviously I've got one HDMI and 3 display ports from the graphics card as well. There's two USB 3 ports. There is a Ethernet port. There is USB 2 ports. There's audio, and then the other side you've got DDR4 RAM. There's 2 front USB which can be connected. I assume one of those, or if not 2, are connected to the top of the case, and that's all about memory there. So, have I got a bargain? I think so. There's some things I need to do, but I think I've done okay. The case is big and functional. It's just a big black case. It isn't very exciting, if I'm honest, but you know, it seems very well made. It's very easy to get into the sides. I imagine upgrades are going to be okay to do. You know, I don't know if the motherboard slides out easily. I need to figure that out. But yeah, the case seems okay. I'm sure I could jazz it up with some LED lights. Very cheap upgrade. I don't know if there's much point doing that. It's got a kind of bay at the front. You know, it's got like a DVD burner type of bay at the front where I could put a DVD writer, Blu-ray burner, just a hard drive, or I could find a panel. You know, there's a few things I'd like to, you know, add to this as far as upgrades go. I'd like to add Thunderbolt 3 if possible. I'd like to add some more USB ports, because there's a couple of USB 2 ports at the back, but I'd like to add some more USB 3 ports. So I could maybe add that at the front, or I can maybe add it at the back. I'll need to look into this. There's a few things I do need to do though. The hard drive, I'm surprised that the Windows was installed on the 2 terabyte storage drive. So what I'm going to do is transfer that to the SSD. I'll transfer Windows to the SSD at one point, and that should really increase performance. I'll put all my apps and things like that there, and I'll keep the 2 terabyte drive as storage. I think that's the wise move, and I'm just assuming that whoever had this, I'm assuming they bought the SSD, you know, after they bought the PC. I don't know though, you know, because here's the thing. I thought this was a custom build. I thought someone had built this from scratch, and you know, it was a labor of love. But this is from Chill Blast, and they are a PC company, which I've googled, and that's a good thing in many regards, because it means that this has been built by a PC professional. And, you know, companies that, you know, sell custom PCs to gamers and that, they tend to be good. It's not like your standard cheap PCs where they just throw in wires everywhere. It looks quite tidy in there. It's quite well ventilated as well. Now, you guys probably can't notice this, but in this room there is noise. There's a lot of fan noise, which is why I've been using the studio mic a lot rather than other mics that I've got. And, you know, that's to be expected with a laptop. You know, it has a powerful CPU. It's got a graphics card and all that. It's thin. It's sexy. But because of that, it can't cool the CPU. And that's why the fans, you know, this can be sitting at 15-20% and the fans still go crazy. This is a lot more ventilated. There are, I think, 2 case fans. There's one big one for the CPU that looks pretty decent, and there's one in the graphics card, obviously. So I think there's 4 fans in there. There could be 5, but I think there's 4. I tried there's a USB type C port at the back, but I think it's USB 3.0 or 3.1. Can do 5 gigabytes per second, which isn't enough to power my USB monitor. But as I said, if I add Thunderbolt ports in the future, then that isn't going to be a problem. What is going to be a problem is the fact that I can't connect to the internet, because this is only set up for Ethernet. There isn't a Wi-Fi adapter, so I'll need to buy that. Now that is annoying. That is very annoying for one reason, because a few weeks ago, whilst I was trading in lots of old dusty crap in my room to get money for a new PC, and because I've been lying here for years, I traded in a Wi-Fi N receiver from D-Link. So I traded it in. I don't know how much it is. I've not checked prices. Maybe it's £30, £40. I don't know. I took £3 for it because it literally sat in a drawer for years. And I said to the guy, I was like, £3? He says, yeah. And I went, right, okay. And that's annoying, because for years I kept that thinking, I will use this one day. This is the kind of thing I will need at one point. And I never needed it because I never bought a desktop again. And, you know, all the laptops have Wi-Fi. And as soon as I buy a desktop, it doesn't have a Wi-Fi adapter in it. A little bit annoying. I just assumed there was one built into the motherboard, or, you know, whoever used it before would have had one. Now, there's a few ways for me to fix that. I can, you know, I'm not going to run Cat 5 or 6 cables up my house. I can't be bothered with that. I can maybe buy one of the mains adapter ones where it goes through the mains and then you know, connect through Ethernet, or I can just buy a good Wi-Fi adapter. I'll need to look into that. I would like more USB ports. I would like Thunderbolt ports, and I'm definitely going to transfer Windows to the SSD. I think that will help with performance. So there are some things I can do. There is room for growth in that regard. But I think if you look at all the components, if you look at everything that I've got, I think for the money I've done really well. You know, the graphics card second hand's probably about 600. The SSD's probably about, you know, 100 to buy. I've got 16 gigabit and it's Corsair RAM, so that seems quite good. The CPU alone is probably like 300 second hand still. So yeah, I don't think I could have went out and actually built this PC for the price, so I think I've done okay. At this point, well, there's not much else I can actually do with this today because I don't have a Wi-Fi connector, so I either run out and buy one, or, you know, maybe the time I actually edit this video, I won't have time. But when I come back next week, what I need to do is resolve the internet connection situation, however I decide to do that, install all my apps, and then I'm going to install games, do tests, and see how this baby can perform. I'm expecting good things. It's got an SSD, it's got a really good graphics card, and I think I've done okay for the money. So guys, thanks for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I know some of you guys like Evo, etc. were asking about this. I know this hasn't been a very good video as far as, you know, I was basically just holding the camera like that because I was trying to unbox it at the same time. So I realise it hasn't been a very professional video, but I did want to show you all in the limited time that I had today. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll do a proper video about it another week, you know, it'll be a little bit nicer, and I'll explain what I've found. You know, I say this a lot, but when you buy something new, you're a little bit excited about it. You think everything's fantastic. A week or two down the line, things are different. You know, when the dust settles, sometimes you view things differently. So I'll play around with it the next couple of weeks, and I'll see what I can do with it. But it is good that I've got a PC now that I can tinker with, and hopefully I will grow my knowledge of building and upgrading PCs. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so please do leave a comment below, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care.